One of the major issues of CONCON, the Constitutional Convention, is amending Article 10 of the Hawaii State Constitution to allow for local schools, boards, as local education agencies. Those are LEAs, which means that they can apply for federal funds directly. And so that would have local control over their state funds and over their federal funds.
The issue of local school board has been discussed for a long time. And I don't think that people really understand what do they mean by local school board. On the mainland, on the school board, local school board is a school board within a community like, say, Cleveland, or Los Angeles, San Francisco. Each has their own local school board. They have the right to tax. We do not have that right to tax. The island of Hawaii, as it is right now, with all the students we have on this island, the amount of money we spend, the county of Hawaii public, the people of this county do not pay enough income tax to support the schools. You say, I pay a lot of tax. That's true. But for every dollar the state gathers from you, only less than 30% goes to education. It costs $6 million to run Waikea, $6 million to run Hilo High, $6 million to run Kealakea, $4 million to run Kumawai. Add it all up and look at the income tax. You say, oh, we pay a lot of tax. That's true. But remember, this island is one of the poorest in the state in terms of the number of free and reduced price school lunches. That tells us the level of poverty. And so, if you want a local school board, is it a local school board for Laupahoehoe, one for Waikolo, one for Kunawaina? Or are you talking about the island of Hawaii or the county of Hawaii? So that's a question you have to understand. I'm not for it. I think the system we have is working. It can be improved, as anything else can be done.
Thank you.
First of all, I am in support of a CONCON. When we get into local school boards and how it's funded, I'm not sure that it's the local school board that we really need to focus on. What we need to focus on is local input, local control, local funding coming down, and choices for the local. And I think that there has to be an overseeing board, but that doesn't mean that if the SCC's powers were actually real and there was funding given to them, that they'd probably have a lot better way of articulating what the local communities, maybe even by county, want for their kids, what the preferences would be, and I'm all for that. Mechanically, I think that the governor had it right years ago when she said you have 2 years. If it passes, you have 2 years to phase it in. But now you have an edict to do it. The reason why people are against the CONCON is because they don't want somebody like the citizens looking at their constitutional convention. They want the legislature to have that sole authority. I really don't think that if the local areas had control over the funding, that it would actually float through the state very well, because they want control of the money. And that's where the problem is.
Local school boards, the problem that I saw with the local school boards is basically urban versus rural. And we have, as a district, a school district for these at-large seats, these 3 neighbor island at-large seats, basically a rural style of educational community, as opposed to Oahu's more urban educational community. With that in mind, I felt that there was probably a better chance of separating the board into two parts. At this point, I feel that too big a bite of the pie, or a bite of this problem, would just fragment everybody. I don't know that county by county we could handle school boards. I don't know that it's it's a very, very complex problem. But the con aside, I think it should be decided by the people themselves, shouldn't be left to someone else's decision. I think that these problems of deciding whether we're going to continue with a large Board of Education, a statewide Board of Education, a two-part Board of Education, or even smaller ones, how much representation they should have, really needs to go to the people, and the people have to be part of this decision-making process. SCCs are an excellent opportunity for local school boards to function better, but we need to let the SCCs work too. So LEAs, great idea. How applicable they could be in this particular situation, I'm not sure. I think that I would have to look at it a lot more and have a lot more input on it. I understand where people want to have separation, but too much separation, too much fragmentation may just blow the whole thing apart. That's my personal opinion. So, thank you.
This question has come up over and over again, and it is a complex question, but it is a very simple answer. We need local school boards, period. Somebody said, well, if that's the case, then you're running for an office that you want to dissolve. I said, yeah, I do. It doesn't make sense in this day and age with the technology we have that we can't have more local control and more information. What I heard in the question was a local school board would be able to access federal money. And that's why charter schools are so successful. Because when a charter school is formed, they partner with a nonprofit. And that nonprofit is bringing in millions of dollars, $21 million in Waimea, a nonprofit, from federal sources. That's not taxpayers' burden. We're entering a new economy. We've put $1 billion extra in our school system in the last 6 years. We're going to have to roll back some of those new hires in our Department of Education. I'm not in favor of taking the business model of the Department of Education and multiplying it into 5 smaller versions. I think we got to go in and find out where the money's going. We have to find out, is there enough money? What are the needs of the local schools, especially rural schools? And who better knows that than a group of people that are honestly given the task and the tools and the training to identify the needs today in each area is a local school board. Now, whether the SCC could be turned into a local school board and be able to access money from the federal government or from foundations and grants, maybe that's the solution. But we can't have this centralized system of administration any longer, period. Thank you.